really? Alright. All up in 'em, caught up in 'em. I live in 'em, you don't get 'em. I do not want you to fix it, but I just want you to listen. Yeah, I just want you to listen. We keep crossing the signals and crossing the wires, and now I just wanna. You feel disrespected, I won't let you protect me from all of the crazy things. I do not want you to fix it, no, but I just want you to listen. Yeah, I just want you to listen. All up in 'em, caught up in 'em. All up in 'em, caught up in 'em. I live in 'em, but you don't get 'em.
I think you think I can mind read. For real. And I think you ignore my needs. And you speak of hurt as if I try to plan it. I think we living on different planets. I say something, you get offended. Seriously. You say, damn, Cliff, you never listen. So then I shut up and you shut down. And I'm just like, yo, what I do now? Here lies the grave that we dance around. Our fight played out with no sound. We argue so much, it's like we love it. Yesterday it was sex, today about the budget. I'm cool, drop the subject. I'm 3 seconds away from just saying, oh. I must admit, sometimes I wanna quit. Cause I feel like my feelings don't mean shit. We pray, we talk about faith, but why you never seem to show me grace? You step on my toes and keep on dancing. Then you wonder why I'm not romantic. Tragedy upon your majesty. We've been fighting each other since Adam and Eve. You got the murder weapon, but you claim your hands are clean. You wanna talk it out, but I need my space to breathe. How's my soul? You never know. We make grave mistakes, dig more holes. In the backyard, try to hide the bones. We know skeletons will never grow. We fool ourselves hiding the dead bodies. Murder, murder, murder just seems to be the hobby. Cool, shots fired and you got me. A house full of death, but we act so godly.
All up in 'em, caught up in 'em. I live in 'em, you don't get 'em. All up in 'em.
This is why I don't like talking to you.
But what I'm saying is you so disrespectful, alright?
I live in 'em, you don't get 'em. All up in 'em,
You can talk to me without screaming, though,
caught
okay?
up in 'em.
You can talk to me without screaming. This is the problem. Like, all I'm saying is just lower your voice, don't push it, don't
Lights off, transparency on. Late night marriage with the richest. Late night marriage with the richest. You need that real talk, this is what you want. Lights off, transparency on. Let's go.
Hey, good night. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? It's Late Night Marriage with the Riches.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good
Hello.
evening. Late Night Marriage with the Riches. Thank you for joining us. Yeah. I'm doing some stuff. You know, I'm always tinkering, so I'm actually live streaming on IG as well tonight. Just
Oh.
checking it out. Just checking it. Oh, you might need to share
On
on your page.
IG.
No. Your regular.
Oh, it pulled me in.
It did?
Oh, you know what? It pulled in T Rich Styles.
I don't
I
know.
got you.
Just, share it.
I got you.
Not on your IG, but on your Facebook.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So, sorry about that. We are, I'm experimenting. This is the last show of the year. So, we are excited. Hey, what's going on, Chris? How you doing, man? How you
Hello.
doing? Long time no see. Thank you for tuning in. I know you've been on here with us, rocking with us the last couple of nights, what have you. I appreciate that. It look a little bit different tonight. Y'all don't worry about it. This last show of the night, last show of the year. And we're going to talk about something. We're going to share a few things with you. Tell a neighbor, tell a friend
Mm-hmm.
that we are out here in these social media streets. We out here in these social media streets. I know I'm hearing an echo from somewhere.
There.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired. Uh, yeah, we out here in these social media streets tonight, and we're gonna be talking about marriage mindsets, and where this is gonna be coming from is actually part of our program that we're getting ready to launch in 2024. We're going to talk a little bit about the 3 programs that we're going to be launching in 2024. Keep your eyes open for more information on those programs. We're getting ready to go on our retreat soon to start planning a great new year and adventures for our family, but also a great new year and adventures for you as couples, those who are dating, married, singles. We're not forgetting about you guys.
No, we're not.
Singles, we're not forgetting about you. We are going to do some things for the singles for sure as well. So we want you to just tune in. Again, grab a neighbor, grab a friend, tell them Late Night Marriage with the Riches is on. We are here. Hopefully I didn't mess nothing else up, and we are in all our spots. Because that is possible. That is possible. It is possible that I messed something up in this feed.
Hopefully. And he's the tech person, so
And I'm the tech person, right?
I could do help.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, you can
Okay.
pray. Some prayers. Some
Gotcha.
prayers are always good. So we're going to talk about tonight marriage mindsets. Oh my goodness, so much has been on the brain. So much has been on the brain. I don't even know where to start. Just so much has been on the brain. Let's dig into 5 marriage mindsets we're going to talk about tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to dig into these, and we're going to talk about what they are, what they mean, and we want you to kind of think about whether, and this is not just for if you're married. As a matter of fact, with actually all 3 of our programs, when you step into the program, you're going to, before we'll ever start sitting down with you coaching, if you're married or dating, we're going to have you and your significant other do an assessment. And that assessment is going to complement our program that we do, which is for the people who are dating or engaged. It is recoding your relationship or coding your relationship for marriage. And for those who are already married, the assessment takes that into account if you answer your questions correctly. And that is recoding your relationship or recoding your marriage, right, for success. And so those are the 2 programs we're going to have, but we're also going to do a year-long mentorship where we're going to take a number of couples with us, and there's going to be a lot that comes along with that, a year-long mentorship with us. And so we're looking forward to that as well. Yeah. But the mindset is just one of a couple of areas of 4 or 5 areas that we end up covering in your assessment. And so we want to make sure that we just kind of talk about it a little bit. And what it actually, there's some research. That's really what sparked me to want to talk about this. There's like some research that goes behind these mindsets. And I was actually surprised by one of them. And my wife had to break it down for me. And after she broke it down, I was like, huh. And it raised some other questions for me, right? So we're getting into the night. We're going to talk about the 5 marriage mindsets. Now, before we dig into them, I'm going to tell you what the 5 are. And then I want you to tell us, just drop it in the comments, which one you think you fit into. So I'll tell you the 5. I'll tell you what each one of them means, then tell us which one you think fits you. So the first one is the resolute mindset, right? And the resolute mindset is someone who is admirably purposeful, determined, and unwavering, right? Resolutes are true believers when it comes to marriage, Resolutes are true believers when it comes to marriage, right? The next one is the rational mindset. Rational meaning agreeable to logic, sound judgment, or good sense. The rational mindset guards their heart. The rational mindset guards their heart. Let's get to the third, the romantic mindset. The romantic, of course, is inspired by the ideal of affection and love, and the romantics believe in a soulmate. Romantics believe in a soulmate. All right? The restless mindset, which is characterized by discontent and uneasiness. They aren't ready to settle down, which is crazy. They're getting married, but they're really not ready to settle down. That's the restless mindset. These are all 5 mindsets around marriage. Then there is the reluctant mindset, exhibiting resistance or unwillingness. All right? So not only is their marriage motivation very low, 1 in 5 say they never want children. So those are the 5 marriage mindsets. I'll go over them real quick for you by name. And it is the resolute mindset, the rational mindset, the romantic mindset, the restless mindset, and the reluctant mindset. Now, those are the 5 marriage mindsets. Which one do you think you fall into? Which category do you think you fall into when it comes to marriage mindsets? Right. Did you ever pull up your report?
I thought we did. We didn't. Yeah. We pulled up.
Oh, we pulled up ours. Oh, yeah. Let me see if I can find our report. Does it go break?
But I already know which one I am.
Let me see. I got to see what my report says. Yeah. Come on. I'm looking up my report because now I want to see which one I'm in. Deeper love. Why won't it show me mine? I don't even know where ours is.
I just saw it earlier.
No, I thought we looked at it last night. I'm sorry, we was looking up ours to try and see what ours was, but that ain't it.
So which one do you think you are?
Oh, I think I am. Now I got to go back because I need to put it in front of me. I think I am. Let me see. I think I am probably the resolute mindset. I think I'm either resolute or rational. Yeah. Which one you think you are?
Romantic.
Let me see. Let me go. Resolute, admirable, purpose, determined, and unwavering. Yeah, I'm definitely resolute. Definitely resolute.
Right. If you're just joining us, we are talking about mindsets
tonight. The 5 mindsets of marriage, right? And so we're going to run these down for you right quick again. And there are 5 mindsets. And this is a part of the assessment that you're going to get if you go through our marriage and relationship coaching program. This is something that you'll get out of that program. You'll actually get an assessment before we start coaching you. And then we'll walk through that assessment combined with our own curriculum to help you get prepared for marriage. If you're already married, help you kind of close any of those gaps or address any risk factors that are in your marriage. But it is a resolute mindset, a rational mindset, a romantic mindset, a restless mindset, and a reluctant mindset. So those are kind of the 5. Now let me go a little deeper on this. So the where we get this assessment from, they did some research. And I got a little surprised. By something, right? So I'm going to go back through these. Out of the people that they interviewed, which was about 3,600 people, 22% fell into the resolute mindset, right? Their marriage motivation was very, very high. So if you're resolute, your marriage motivation is very high. 23% fell into the rational mindset, which means in their marriage motivation was moderate. 19% fell into the romantic mindset, and their marriage motivation was high. As you can imagine, restless, 22%, low for now, and reluctant was 14%, and their marriage motivation was the lowest, right? Which you can imagine. They're getting into marriage reluctantly. They're not super excited about it.
Right.
Now, I want to go down each one of these deeper. And I'm going to start with the resolute. So I told you that the resolute, their marriage motivation was the highest, right? Their marriage theme. This is their theme about marriage. Divorce is not an option. That is their theme. A resolute marriage mindset says, hell or high water, divorce is not an option, right? Their expectation from marriage is personal fulfillment. So if you're resolute, you're saying divorce is not an option and you expect to get personal fulfillment out of your relationship, out of your marriage. Their acceptance of divorce, as by their marriage theme, is divorce not an option. It's like, no. Divorce, no. Okay? The gender who usually fall into the resolute mindset is mixed. It's men and women. It's not more women, not more men that fall into that mindset. The age, they are the oldest among the people who have this mindset. Now, in this particular survey, they went from ages 18 to 30, but in general, what they're saying is the trend is the older you are, the more likely you are to have a resolute mindset towards marriage.
The older you are?
The older you are, right? Their education is usually the highest. They have college degrees, all of that. If you have that resolute mindset, you're usually going to have a high level of education. And their ethnicity is typically Caucasian that have the resolute mindset. All right? That's resolute. For the rational marriage mindset, and then we're going to get out of all of this academia and just get into some raw, good conversation. The rational mindset, the reason I'm going through this, because this is the table that triggered me. So the rational mindset, their marriage motivation, I told you, is moderate. Their marriage theme is marriage is hard work. So the rational person is like, marriage is hard work. Their expectation from marriage is that there will be bumps in the road. Their acceptance of divorce is it's an option. If you have a rational mindset, you're saying divorce, you're saying, hey, divorce is an option for me. Their gender is mixed. So this is kind of between men and women. It's not more men than women. Their age is typically older, but not the oldest, right? And their education is high, but not the highest. And their ethnicity, it was highest, this type was highest among Caucasians. Okay.
Probably more rational. A good mix between rational and romantic.
Interesting. All right. So let's go romantic. Romantic, and this is the one that threw me for a curve, and Tamika had to talk me through it. Marriage motivation is very high, but not the highest. Their marriage theme is we'll live happily ever after. Right? That's their marriage theme. Their expectation from marriage is lifelong love. Their expectation from marriage is lifelong love. Okay? Their divorce acceptance is it's an option. So now we have rational and romantic are saying divorce is an option. Here's where we get to the gender. The gender is 67% of females fall into the romantic. Of the 19%, 67% of those were female that fell into the romantic path. Okay? Romantic mindset. It was typical from an age perspective. Those who are younger are more about the romantic side. And these are the two things that threw me for a loop. I wasn't surprised that it was more women that were in the romantic lane. These are two things that threw me for a loop. The education for a romantic mindset is typically lower. And the ethnicity for the romantic mindset is typically the highest with African American. So if you take into consideration that 67% of them are women, African American women in general have the highest romantic mindset, and the person who has the highest romantic mindset is typically lower education, and it's women. Hey, what's going on, Angela? Happy Wednesday. Right?
Hello, Angela.
That one threw me for a loop. Explain it for me, honey. Explain to the people what you explained to me.
Why you want me to explain? No.
Because you explained it to me.
How I could see it. Well, one is not surprised that it's women because, you know, as women and females, we're emotional and we do romanticize a lot. But I told them in my younger life, I was definitely this person because how we come up a lot of times. And if you're not in a 2-parent or ideal nuclear family or relationship, you have a tendency to fantasize and think about more of what you want out of marriage. And so a lot of times we're looking at movies and shows and we're thinking about those things more so, one, than education.
Fairy tales.
Right. And I did say fairy tales. So we live in sort of like this fairy tale mindset a lot of times of wanting a certain type of marriage. And what did it say early on? And we think of all the things ideal of it being lifelong and happily ever after. So when it says happily ever after, we want our happily ever after. And so that's the mindset it comes along with. Right. And it comes along with the romantic mindset of happily ever after because that's what you see, that's what you sense, that's what you want it to be.
So here's something.
And you don't always have a realistic view of it being well-rounded and seeing the good, the bad, and all the other things.
Here's some things about the romantic.
Hey, Brandon. Good evening. I see Brandon.
Hey, what's going on, Brandon? We going through these marriage mindsets, bro. Here's some things that was interesting about the romantic mindset. They're often young females believing in the existence of their Prince Charming. They don't have much of a plan. Life just happens for them. Education is not valued as much by them as it is in other segments. They believe there is one person out there for them. You're most likely to find them, check this, in small towns in the South and the Midwest. They tend to be service workers and clerks by trade.
Right. Now, I didn't agree with everything it
said. I ain't saying I agree with it all.
But some of those points are not surprising.
Romantics feel about divorce. Divorcing is an acceptable option for romantics, especially if it's related to cheating, dishonesty, violence, or discovering you're not with your soulmate. In fact, 32% of romantics say finding someone else is grounds for divorce. And when you ask romantics what holds a marriage together, they're likely to say love and trust. So when you start thinking about these marriage mindsets, right? Because this is one of the things, when we take you through our program and you get your assessment and we walk you through your assessment, we're going to be looking at what is your marriage mindset. Because your marriage mindset is going to cover and help you understand where you and your spouse may be at some gaps. If y'all both romantics, that could be good, could be bad, who knows? But we'll be talking about that in the program that we're launching in 2024. If you do your assessment, you come through our coaching program, you will get this assessment and it'll go hand in hand with our curriculum that we also teach at Marriage Refresh. So
about mindset, because mindset is very important. And a lot of times we don't come in or have a marriage mindset getting married. So your mindset has to change. And a lot of people don't necessarily think so, or you don't realize how much your mindset has to change. Because you'll come into marriage still with a single mindset, thinking you can be single in marriage.
Well, I want it because I knew that's where you
single things.
I figured you were going to go there, but I wanted to. I'm glad you said that because I want to kind of make sure we segment two things.
Right.
There's a mindset you have about marriage,
right,
and then there's a personal mindset that you have just about life.
Correct.
So your personal mindset may be, when I get married, I can still go hang out with my buddies until the wee hours of the morning, right? So that's just how you're conducting yourself in marriage. But when it comes to that marriage mindset, it is about, am I resolute, rational, romantic, restless, or reluctant? Now, if you're restless or reluctant, you're going to probably have even more of that kind of a mindset. And watch this. Let's go to the restless mindset. So their marriage motivation is low for now. I need more time is their marriage theme.
Which one is this?
This is the restless. They their expectation from marriage, loss of independence. So that's where you're going to have that factor of, I can still hang out with my buddies and be married, where that could come into play, right?
You're going to have a fear of, this is going to be boring just to be with this one person, or look at this one person and we just do, things together. And so restless is sort of like, oh, it's going to be boring.
I don't know if it's so much it's going to be boring. It's that if I like to fish, you're going to not want me to fish. I'll give you a classic example. Someone who likes to play video games, right? And use that example, or hunt, or fish, or play golf. They might be okay with doing less of that because they're married, but their fear is they're going to be able to do none of that because they're married. Loss of independence. Or I think you and I were talking a little earlier, like, I don't want to be your all in all. You got to have a life outside of me, but that life outside of me shouldn't disrupt our marriage, and my life outside of you shouldn't disrupt our marriage, and it shouldn't pull us in opposite directions.
Right.
If it threatens our unity, then we have to stop it.
Yeah, we have some issues.
Right. So that's what I'm looking at, is like that restless person, they're like, that loss of independence. And then here's their thing about divorce, which is interesting because they're restless. If you think about restless, if you look at the restless mindset, brings a heavy. Oh, hold on. The restless is they're discontent and uneasy, right? You've heard the phrase ants in your pants, right? It usually refers to the fidgety kid who never seems to sit still. This same restlessness, however, is found in some young adults, especially cavalier males who dominate the restless mindset, right? So when you kind of think about them, watch this. They're ambivalent about marriage is reflected in their strong feelings for and against it. They lack confidence in their skills to make marriage work. Predominantly young males, 70%. They are risk takers and focus primarily on having fun. They're ethnically diverse with higher incomes. You are at least likely to find them in the Midwest and mostly in urban areas. So this is what I want to point out about the restless mindset. So from a divorce perspective, divorce is a last resort. You would think they would be more open to divorce.
Yeah.
But they're saying we should only do a divorce in the restless mindset. You only do a divorce as a last resort. Right? So thinking about that again, let's dig deeper into that. The fear of a failed marriage, restless. Here, I'm on restless.
Oh, okay.
The fear of a failed marriage causes restless mindsets to say divorce is not acceptable in their family nor among their friends. Relative to their peers, they have a greater tolerance for physical abuse. Just 75% see it as grounds for divorce, compared to 91% by their peers. And the same is true for drug use. They have expectations when it comes to sexual fulfillment. Still, they are far more likely than their peers to not get married for fear of possible divorce. When asked what holds a marriage together, they're likely to say loyalty. Right? I found it interesting that the restless mindset is saying, you know, really they're like divorce should only be a last resort. Okay. Now watch this. Let's go to let's do the last mindset, reluctant, and we'll chop it up a little bit. If you have questions, drop them in the comments. We're happy to answer them and get into it. Hey, what's going on, Miles Brown? What's going on, fam? I just saw your comment. Just saw it. I'm still working out incorporating this IG into this because my IG comments don't pop up in my software. Anyway, watch this. Reluctant is the lowest marriage motivation. Their marriage theme is why take the risk. Hey, what's going on, sis? I see Yo-Yo on, Miss Yolanda Brown. Hey, what's up, fam?
Oh, I'm waving at your phone.
Yeah, you waving at the phone. The camera's over here. The camera's actually right there, not over there.
All right. Hello.
Yeah. We're going to get it together, people. Why take the risk? Their expectation from marriage is loss of identity, right? They expect to lose their identity. Their divorce acceptance is yes. So resolute, no. Dissent, yes.
Right.
Everybody else is in the middle. Their gender here is mixed, you know, as far as who people fall into this category. The age is the average age between 18 and 30, which was the sample size. Their education is low, but not the lowest. Romantics is the lowest. And their ethnicity is mixed, right? As far as who falls into this category from an ethnicity perspective. Now, let's get down to the reluctant mindset. Some interesting things about them. They are anti-marriage, fearing lifelong commitment more than others. I still want you to just take this in for a minute. This is a part of a marriage assessment. So it means that anyone who is taking this is considering marriage or already married. And you could be getting ready to get married to someone who is restless or reluctant. Although I would say restless in terms of their commitment and not wanting to get divorced could be a good or a bad thing.
Right.
But
sounds like the restless because it says loyal. That hey, we just gonna
ride it out.
Be roomies.
They sound the restless sound like the women and men of old. They hung in there no matter what.
Right.
Divorce
really
was an absolute.
Really want to be married.
Yeah, divorce was like a last resort, right? So for the reluctant, they believe people are better off staying single. Which again, they getting married. Strongest proponents of cohabitation. Having children does not appear to influence their decisions to marry or stay married. They show average education and slightly lower income. They have an average distribution of ethnicity. They are less suburban and more urban. The group skews older than the other four groups, which makes sense. And the category is made up of 46% men and 54% women. Here's what they say about divorce. Reluctants are nearly twice as likely as their peers to say that divorce is acceptable in their family. Consequently, they find many reasons for divorce, including falling out of love. That's one reason they are the strongest proponents of cohabitation before or as a substitute for marriage. So if they are of the reluctant mindset, that's what you're getting, potentially. Now, that doesn't mean
that's
that...
telling you all up front.
That's telling you all up front. So another reason why we want you to go through our coaching program is because we want to talk about this. Just because they're in that category, there may be risk factors that can be mitigated that helps with that. But I would want to know that they fall into which category that we fall into before we do it, so we know what we have to work on if we decide to move forward. I could see sitting down. I never coached a reluctant, or never coached a reluctant that was identified through the assessment. I'm sure I've coached a
They
reluctant
were
just by conversation.
reluctant after the fact.
Yeah, they reluctant after the fact.
Right.
When that's gonna be odd when we run the assessment for people that's already married and you fall into the reluctant, because I could see a reluctant person in coaching with us actually saying, like, when we read that cohabitation, that's what I'm saying. Why do we even need to do this? It's a piece of paper. I could see all of those statements coming out and then having to talk through that.
Right.
Yeah. And I could see myself looking at that person and saying, this person does not want to be married. They may care about you. They may even love you. But if you go through marriage with this person, you got to consider, right? There's things you need to consider. A, B, and C, right? So, yeah.
You're going to be honest.
You're going to be honest. We're going to definitely be honest. That one of the reasons people don't like to do marriage coaching, marriage counseling, is that they feel like the therapist or the coaches are not honest with them, won't tell them the truth about their relationship, and just try and milk them out of more money. That's not us. We ain't had some people get pissed at us.
I would think it would actually be the opposite, though.
They because they feel like they get milked. I don't care. And here's the thing about us, just so you know, Late Night Marriage with the Riches. You ever come to coaching with us? Now, if you're married, we're going to advise you differently than if you're dating. If you're married, we're going to try, unless there's some really crazy stuff going on, we're going to try to really get you and encourage you to work on and heal your marriage. If you are dating and thinking about marriage, and we come up with this stuff and we look through and we talk to you and we see something, we have no problem. I don't care what you could have rented out the entire doggone Barclays Center in New York for your wedding. And you sitting there, all the money we're going to lose. Do y'all really think there's no hope for us? I wouldn't do it. Not right now, I wouldn't. Not until y'all can work on these things, I wouldn't.
Right.
We have no hesitation.
Right. And it's okay sometimes to say not right now.
Yeah.
And I think people don't really get it or understand it or may be offended by it. But it doesn't mean not ever. Right. But then when you start to work through things and then realize that it will be hard for us to ever come to resolution or resolve, then you probably would agree and go, oh, I'm kind of glad we did this or waited or took our time. This is not the right relationship or the person for me.
The greatest,
and it's okay.
The greatest, Lexus, I'm coming to your question. You see, you pushing me. I got announcements to make. Yeah. The greatest, Lord. So the greatest pressure I think that's put on people who are not married is public pressure. And public pressure shows up a few different ways. It shows up in public proposals, right? And that's even worse with social media. It shows up through children or early pregnancies, right? And we really wanted to wait, but now we're pregnant and we still not going to rush the wedding, but everybody knows we're married. So we kind of say we're going to get married. Now we got to do it. It shows up in invitations sent out to your wedding. We've had couples, more than probably 4 or 5 couples that said like they got their invitations, their wedding was planned, and they were walking to the altar or standing at the altar knowing not that they didn't need to get married, but they needed to pause, but because everyone had already gotten this and they paid for dresses, all of that public pressure will cause you to get ahead of yourself or jump into something that you're not really ready for.
Right. Public pressure and pride and
ego. Yeah, all of that goes with it. Right. You're right. I'm glad you pointed that out because all of that goes with that. And so we do this assessment as, now I'm going to answer your question, sis. So we do this assessment as a part of our pre-marriage education program, which is called Coding Your Relationship for Marriage. We also do it for our marriage maintenance program, is what we call it, which is recoding your marriage for success. And then if you enroll in our first ever 1 year marriage mentorship, which will be a group cohort of where we're doing marriage, we're going to take so many couples and we're going to be there for those couples. We're going to support them. We're going to do monthly calls with them. We're going to do everything like that to support them for healthy marriage. We're going to do that for people for a year. And so that we're only going to take so many couples into that program. And we're going to put something out for the application soon for people to apply to be a part of the mentorship program that we will be launching in 2024. Application will go out sometime in January. We will start our first monthly call in February, and we will go 12 months from there.
Right.
And you just be on the lookout for everything that'll come with that. One of the things that we are planning is our weekend mastermind for so many couples. So there's going to be a lot coming from Late Night Marriage with the Riches, Marriage Refresh. And maybe a lot of people don't know. Marriage Refresh is our relationship coaching business.
Mm-hmm.
And Late Night Marriage is produced by Marriage Refresh. And so just in case you don't know, like, why do they keep saying Marriage Refresh? If you don't know it, you might not understand that. But Marriage Refresh is our relationship coaching business. So we are going to be doing. So to your question though, sis, for the boot camp or the retreat, we 100% as a part of it will be doing the assessment as part of that package. People will do their assessment. If you happen to have already gone through the assessment because you've been in one of our other programs, then when we do the boot camp, that cost would be removed from your particular ticket price if you've already done the assessment. So yes, any program we do is going to have this assessment all in the mix because we want people to do this assessment. Let us walk you through it. Let us help you unpack it, combined with our own curriculum that we developed, that God gave us to go hand in hand with this so that we can get the spiritual aspect and the practical aspect of marriage and bring those two things together.
Right, because one of the things that the Bible tells us to be is comparable. And a lot of times we don't do the work or what we should to realize if we're comparable in marriage and what would be the difference or how uncomparable we are, and if it's something worth working on or something we need to work on outside of emotion.
Right.
And so we're not just making an emotional decision.
Right.
And then, 6 months down the road, this emotional decision, we realize we've gotten into something that we shouldn't have or done something that we shouldn't have. So
yeah, I'm looking for some okay, Genesis 2:18, because I want to get at something you said. That's one of my favorite scriptures. And the Lord said, "It is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helper comparable to him." Some translations say suitable to him, right? So when you're looking at that word comparable, right, I need somebody who, that is like as many as about in the same way according to that which is opposite, that which corresponds to, right? And so the reason I like to explore that word is, and we can have a debate about this. There are people like, we got to be compatible. We got to be compatible. And then we got to be comparable. Here's how I look at it. And I'm open to being checked on this. Don't worry. My skin is thick. When you are compatible, right? The way I kind of look at it is, if y'all remember the old big boxy TVs, right? Let me just put it that way. I can still get one of those TVs, hook a cable cord to it, and I'm going to get TV on there because it's compatible. Means it will work together, even if you have to do some extra work to make it work, right? But it's not going to be at its best. But if I take that same cable box and by HDMI, put it into the cable into the back of that HDMI converter and then hook it to an HDMI high def TV, I'm going to get a far superior output because it is comparable.
Mm-hmm.
Those two things were, not only do they work together, but they are meant to work together well.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't take a lot of effort to make them work together well. So when I'm looking for somebody who is comparable or comparable,
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for someone, I don't want someone just like me. I need somebody who kind of balances me. And we were talking about that a little earlier today. So we took DISC assessments from Dr. Eric Thomas and his team. And we did the DISC assessments.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of categorized the DISC assessment, DISC. And like, I'm a high D, which means I'm very direct. Let's just get to the point. How I like to describe my personality, they call it a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
How I like to describe my personality with me being a high D, like I'm a 99D, is if we've got to get from point A to B, and we have two paths. One path is we can walk around on the concrete, around the flowers and around the grass, and we can and to get there, fine. Or we can cut through the flowers and the grass carefully. If we damage some of them, we can replant them, but we're going to try and get through there. But that's the shortest, fastest path to where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to cut through the flowers. We can plant some more later. And if you force me to go around the concrete, we're going to be moving. If you fall and skin your knee, get up, no crying. We got to get where we're going. That's my high D. If Tamika and I were both high Ds, we ain't going to make it.
Mm-mm.
We're going to be compatible because we both going to be driven to get to the point, but we're going to be at each other's throat getting there.
Right.
Right? But Tamika is, and we got to find her assessment, she's what they call a flight attendant, which means she's an high I. Because she's a high I, my thing is, I'm so direct, Tamika balances me.
Mm-hmm.
I like to say this sometimes. Tamika probably saves the world from a lot of cuts that would otherwise be inflicted by me, just by me being a D. It's not malicious. I'm not trying to hurt. I'm just trying to accomplish the goal. I'm trying to get us where we're going. I'm trying to solve the problem. So she probably softens my edges and saves the world from a lot of cuts. Mm-hmm. But Tamika is also, which a lot of people don't understand, no, I'm an introvert and I'm shy. She is more likely to get me in a room, but once I get in the room and warm up, I can dominate the room. Or do what I need to do in the room. But accessing the room, that's her skill. That's what she does. We balance each other. We're comparable.
Right.
Right? So that's kind of how I look at that. And when I look at that scripture, I always go back. I want somebody who is comparable or comparable to me so that we can balance each other out.
That's good.
Right. So that's kind of the marriage mindsets. We were talking about that whole thing. And like when you get out there and you're thinking about marriage, you need to be thinking about a lot of stuff. I'm gonna just give y'all a sneak peek or something. I ain't gonna say it. Go through sneak peek. So if you do the assessment with us or go through one of our programs, so there's 4 key areas we cover. We cover mindset, we cover well-being, we cover context, and we cover dynamics, right? For example, in dynamics, one of you might be cooperating and one of you might be an affirming spouse. We cover that. We talk about that. We talk about any identified red flags, or not even red flags, caution, because I think red flags gets overused. So we really do think it's important.
So you saying yellow flag?
Gray flags.
Hot pink. Fuchsia.
Yes, honey.
Orange.
Fire.
Amber. Okay.
Amber. Red, green, yellow. Let's go with amber.
Mm-hmm.
Amber flags. There are probably more amber flags than there are red flags. Okay.
What?
Nothing.
Mhm.
I'm just so there's probably more amber flags than red flags. Um, but I think that sitting down and making sure that you understand it's not that you can't get married. It's just understanding what you're getting into. Some of the vows that people give, I'm going to share with you the vows that I do. I do semi-traditional vows when it comes to um,
And even for recoding or people that's already in marriage that didn't necessarily have the mindset or was aware about a lot of things pre-marriage, now that you in them, it's not necessarily so bad a lot of times that it can't be worked on, fixed, or healed, or that you have to get a divorce, but you do have to be willing to do the work. So once you're aware, it's like, oh, we didn't necessarily know about these things. And if we're open to going back and doing the work and realizing, oh, we are comparable or comparable. We just need to adjust or pivot, on some things and make it work.
right,
Yeah, we're not just gonna throw it away just yet. But a lot of times, mindset, it's like, let's throw it away because we disagree a lot or whatever it is. We have a lot of friction. We don't know how to resolve issues. We don't know how to communicate. But it's learning how to do a lot of these things in order for it to work.
right. I'm trying to find. Did I miss my? I done misplaced my vows. Uh-uh. I perfectly crafted those. Huh. But I'm going to go through the traditional vows. Let me go through the traditional vows. The traditional vows are this. Will thou have this woman, man, to be thy wedded wife, husband, to live together after God's ordinance in the holy estate of matrimony? Wilt thou love her, him, comfort them, honor and keep them in sickness and in health, and forsaking all others, keep thee only unto him and her as long as you shall live? In the name of God, I take you, blah, blah, to be my, blah, blah, wife or husband, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better or for worse, for richer or poor, in sickness and health, to love and to cherish, and to death do us part. Right? Now, the original wedding vows, as found in the Bible, you probably know what that was. But the original wedding vows, the first ever wedding, was this simple. It says, then the rib which the Lord God, this is found in Genesis 2:21 through 25. Then the rib which the Lord God taken from the man made into a woman and brought her to the man. So her father escorted her down the aisle, brought her over to her husband. Then Adam, because they ain't have a priest, jumped up and said, this was his wedding vow. Now this is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. Let me say that a different way. This is me looking at me. She is a part of me. And she is now going to take my name. She is woman, right? She's taken a part of my name.
Mm-hmm.
And because she was taken from me, she came from me, I'm going to treat her as well as I treat myself, which is why you need to pay attention to how people treat themselves before you get married. Especially how a man or a woman treats themselves, particularly a man, but both sides, how they treat themselves. What do they believe about themselves? Because the things that they believe about themselves are things that they may believe about you, good, bad, or indifferent.
Mm-hmm. And I learned to, we've said this about this, but definitely up front now, in public and in private.
In public and in private, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so you have to understand some things when it comes down to marriage, when you're really sitting thinking about it. How do they treat themselves? And you're right, in public and in private.
Mm-hmm.
How do they treat them?
Mm-hmm.
It is so important that you know and understand that.
Right.
And the reason that is so super, because we're supposed to be one flesh. So don't get surprised if they're abusive to you, if they're abusive to themselves. That abuse may show up differently if they abuse alcohol and then come home and abuse you physically. You shouldn't be surprised because they were already abusing themselves. And so they have no problem abusing their body, and you're one flesh with them.
Mm-hmm.
It may seem like, oh, you're over spiritualizing or thinking about a certain kind of way. No, I'm telling you how a person treats themselves. I cannot, and I told y'all gonna get sick of me. You will not be a better husband. You will not be a better wife. You will not be a better boyfriend. You will not be a better girlfriend until you become a better person.
Period.
I cannot love Tamika above how well I love me. And I'm not talking about selfishly loving me.
Right.
I can't. So it's so important.
And that's God.
Yeah.
Love God and love your neighbor as yourself. So you gotta love you.
Yeah, if you wouldn't do it to your neighbor, don't do it to you. But if you're willing to do it to you, you ain't gonna have no problem doing it to your neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I talk about, if you will lie to you, and we lie to ourselves a lot, then you will have no problem lying to somebody else. Not at all. Pay attention to how much they lie to themselves. How does lying to myself look like? When I don't keep my goals. When I easily abandon my goals. I ain't talking about struggling to keep them. I easily abandon my goals. Like they in week 3 of January and their New Year's resolution, they're like, oh, I'll start over next year. We got a whole nother, 47 weeks to go. And you already a 48, whatever, I ain't the 49. Right? It's 52 weeks, then did 3 of them. So we got a whole nother 48 weeks to go. And you had already gave up on your New Year's resolution. They just lied to themselves. So if they can lie to them, they can lie to you. It's that simple. It really is that simple. So you need to be aware and pay attention. How do they treat themselves? But what happens is, when we're dating, we get so caught up in how they treat us, and they put on their best. Bishop Jake says it. He says that when you date somebody, you're dating their representative. They put on their best to treat you their best, and you're ignoring all of the warning signs that they really got some things that they need to work through because of how they treat themselves. How they treat themselves. You're missing it because you're so focused on you. No, I want to know. You know what? If you date, ask them what their self-care routine is. What do they do to take care of themselves? Just to make sure they're okay. Those things are important discussions.
Right. And not just physically.
Yeah, not just physically. Like, what am I doing? Ideally, if you're a Christian, you want to marry a Christian or whatever. But hey, I meditate. What kind of meditation you doing? You calling up the dark Lord, or you calling the Lord? What are we doing?
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
So we do really need to have those conversations and understand how people are treating themselves, because we're talking about these 5 marriage mindsets, but it goes down to an individual level. A person cannot be a better husband or wife than they are as an individual. It's just not possible. It's not. Are you going to be handing out Oscars in your house? The best leading role at 7 Amy Lane for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be handing out Oscars.
Right.
I'm gonna be handing out Oscars.
In which department?
Yeah,
comedy.
Comedy. Best rom-com. Best action movie. Best drama. You're gonna be handing out Oscars everywhere.
Which animated series?
Yeah.
Best animated series.
Best animated. Best soundtrack. Huh? Come on now. Come on. So, yeah, I ain't gonna even go there. Listen, this our last show. of the year. We got a lot
That's not of the year.
of the year. Of the year. This is our last show of 2023.
Yes, it is.
We got a lot coming up in the new year. We may or may not be on next Wednesday, coming off the new year, getting ready to ramp up. We'll let y'all know. Yes, sis. Still working on you, but you're proud of the work you put in, and you keep going, girl.
Right. As you should be.
As you should be. And you keep going. Be a better you.
Yeah.
Be a better you.
Right.
But
and that is something to be proud of and excited about.
It is.
Anytime
Super.
we work on you.
Super. Super. And I just want y'all to know, I'm sleeping. I'm so sorry. As we go into the new year, we got a lot. We're going to be moving. We're going to be helping. We're going to be building. Couples and relationships, because couples and marriage and relationships are in need of a desperate reset. Mm-hmm. It's time to hit the reset button. And so we're going to be doing some stuff. We can't wait to our next live event. We'll be getting some information out about that right after the new year. And we're looking forward to that. And our whole calendar, we're going to be locking some stuff down. So yeah, we really looking forward to it. Looking forward to doing some great and wonderful things. Mm-hmm. And we pray that if you're dating, you're engaged, you're married, your marriage is holding on by a string, your marriage is doing great, just know that regardless of whatever state your relationship is in, we are praying for you. We're praying for your relationships. Yeah. We're praying that if y'all are, that's what I was going to say. Still to date, I want to put this on a plaque. I wish I could find a couple and get their names and put it on a plaque. Still today, and I think we did this in 2016, 2017, New Marriage Under Construction, our workshop seminar we did. Still to date, the greatest testimonial we have ever received was a young couple who was thinking about marriage, came to our New Marriage Under Construction seminar. And after listening to the marriages and listening to what we were teaching, they made a conscious decision to pause their relationship, pause getting married. I don't know if they ever got married later, but they pause. They said the information that we gave them was so valuable. It helped them understand that they were not ready for marriage as they thought, and that they had a lot more work to do before they got married. And see, we didn't have enough presence of mind back then. We didn't have enough presence of mind back then to get those testimonials and capture them in that way. Right. But we are very, 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 we're very, I hold that as a high honor. It isn't that we don't want people to get married. One of the things that's said in marriage vows is marriage is not to be entered into lightly.
Right. It's forever, ever.
Yeah.
Forever,
ever. And far too many people.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Right. Far too many people enter into marriage lightly. Mm-hmm. So we don't want people to do that. We want you to enter. We honor marriage. We like marriage. We know God loves marriage. We're team marriage all day. We want to see people get married, but we want to see people in thriving marriages, not just surviving in existing marriages.
We want to see you win in marriage.
Yes.
And be purposeful in marriage and do everything that God wants you to do and accomplish in that marriage. Because it's the most important relationship that He put here on earth.
Yeah. God gave dominion to marriage. He didn't give it to man. He doesn't give it to woman. He gave dominion to marriage. Mm-hmm. So,
and we want to, for the world just to see what it looks like when marriage is on the same page and marriage is done right. Yeah. What it yields.
Yeah.
What it yields in the earth when it's done right.
Yeah. So listen, I'm starting to slur my words because I'm tired. I went to bed super late and I got up at my normal
Oh,
time.
what was that? You looked over here at me like I was the cause of you going to bed super late.
You must be feeling guilty. Hit dog a holler is what they tell me.
Is that what they say?
That's what they say to me.
Okay.
That's what they say to me. So, yeah, I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to bed. It has truly been a late night. I'm not keeping y'all any longer. Listen, last time. This is our final show on Facebook, IG, YouTube. Facebook, IG. Where else we broadcast? Yeah, Facebook and IG and whatever. In the new year, we will only be on YouTube. So like, subscribe, and share. Go and subscribe to our page. You can find it, Late Night Marriage.
Yep.
Go and subscribe because in the new year, we will only be on YouTube because we want to get that sense of community. We know people be looking for each other in the comments and they can't see each other in the comments. And because one person on this page, another person on that. No, in the new year, we will only be on YouTube. So I suggest that you go over, make sure you like, subscribe, and share on our YouTube channel.
Turn on your notifications.
Turn on your notifications. It is Late Night Marriage on YouTube. So that's what we're going to be doing in the new year. So next time you see us, it will be only on YouTube. And it's going to make your life easier. It's going to make our life easier. Yep. And we're looking forward to it. So till next video, God bless you. Continue to date holy, all that good stuff. And we'll see you on the next video.
We love you for real. Have a good night.
Good night.